Holy smokes, the toys of the 80s and 90s were probably the greatest collectibles ever made. And that's why today we're taking another look at perhaps the greatest of all, M.U.S.C.L.E. What's up, Internet? Every Single M.U.S.C.L.E. here, and it's that time again, time for part 4 of my Every Single M.U.S.C.L.E. compilation countdown. If you missed parts 1 through 3, have no fear, I've linked them in the show notes below. But if you're here for part 4, you're in for a doozy. We're covering 50 more little rubber muscle bastards. This time, it's figures number 150 through 200. But you've heard enough from me. Let's do it. We're back with another Every Single M.U.S.C.L.E., and this time it's number 151, Candelaman. And I think we need to address the elephant in the room. This guy is a very odd color for a M.U.S.C.L.E. figure, right? Very unusual. And that's because this color, known as grape in the M.U.S.C.L.E. collecting community, only exists in 5 different M.U.S.C.L.E. sculpts. And the reason for that is because it only was available if you bought the M.U.S.C.L.E. Mega Match board game, which I do not have, unfortunately, but you can take a look at this picture right here and kind of see what's going on here. There were 10 figures in total. 5 of them came in green and 5 of them came in grape. And this is the only place you can get grape-colored figures, which includes this guy, as well as M.U.S.C.L.E. figure number 1, and the Screw Kid that we talked about very recently, and 2 other figures that we're going to be talking about pretty soon. Now, this one's going to run a little bit longer than usual because we have yet to talk about the figure itself, so let's touch upon it real quick. Candelaman, what is the deal with him? It's kind of hard to tell. There's not really a way of identifying anything about him. He's got these stripes across his body. He's got it looks like an IX on his chest or a 1X, and he's got the letters LCD on his forehead there. And as it turns out, candela is actually a unit of measuring brightness of light. So he is named for that, and that's why if you take a look at him in the encyclopedia, he's got all these different bright colors and stuff, and you know, there's a little background for you. But hey, pretty interesting. This is the first time we've seen a grape figure, and it's actually the only grape figure in my collection. So it'll be the last time you see one in my posts, but there are other ones that were featured in grape, and I will be talking about those guys coming up soon. It's another lazy Sunday afternoon edition of Every Single M.U.S.C.L.E., and this time we're here with number 152, Mongolman. Now, if you take a look at Mongolman here, you can see he's got this weird little top knot thing. He's got a cool shoulder pad with leather straps. He's got some face paint on. He's got these odd limp wrists kind of going on here, and it's worth noting the reason for all that is because Mongolman is actually an alternate identity of Ramen Man. Ramen Man shows up a couple times throughout the anime and manga series in this Mongolman form, and despite having being the only character with a head shaped like that and a weird little top knot thingy, none of the other characters seem to actually recognize that Mongolman and Ramen Man are the same guy until that secret is revealed. Now, that said, this is the only Mongolman figure in the M.U.S.C.L.E. figure toy line. There are 2 Ramen Mans, but they're the only Mongolman, and it is one of the few M.U.S.C.L.E. figures that actually comes in the grape color as part of the M.U.S.C.L.E. Mega Match board game. So if you got this guy in a grape color, not too common. I know a lot of you have been waiting for me to get to this one. It's M.U.S.C.L.E. figure number 153, Sneagator, aka The Claw. And this is probably the most popular figure in the entire line. This is one that, whether you're a M.U.S.C.L.E. figure collector or not, you might still collect this guy all on its own. I know people that collect just Claw figures. They collect it in all the different colors, or they collect variants of it that are created by original artists out there doing 3D modeling or using different materials and different colors to replicate this guy. I actually own one of him that's a lefty version without any face on it, and it's all smoothed all over. But let's talk about this. It is a pretty rad figure. It is gnarly. It's got all these pimples on it and all of this scary looking face. It's an amazing figure. And just a reminder, it's a figure of Sneagator, a character that turns into lizards and sneakers and also the Claw. But taking one last look at the Claw figure, maybe the most iconic design in the whole set. Gotta love it. Looks like we're covering some heavy hitters today because M.U.S.C.L.E. figure number 154 is Ammonitos. And if you take a good look at him, I think a more befitting name might be Vindicator because he looks absolutely terrifying, like a scary villain. He's jacked up. He looks like Bane meets Vega from Street Fighter, right? He's got these muscly arms and muscly body. He's got that cool mask, and he's also got this really unique head shape, and that's because he's inspired by an ammonite, which is a cephalopod from the Cretaceous period, and so you can see that very much inspired in his head there. What a really great design. And it's also worth noting, while he is a very minor character in the anime and manga, I'm not sure he plays any real part, he is the last of the 5 figures that were available in the grape color that came with the Muscle Match Mega game. So if you've got that game and you've got him in that cool grape color, good for you. That's a pretty fun figure to have, but I think any version of him is pretty cool. We're really moving now, so let's keep things going with muscle figure number 155, Chanelman. Now, just taking a good look at this figure, it's got so much fine detail, especially in his button-down, sleeve-rolled-up flannel shirt here. And he's also got some blue jeans, he's got some sunglasses, he's got a hat. It's almost like this guy doesn't want to be recognized, right? Like he's maybe in disguise. And that's because he is. It's actually Kinnikuman in disguise. You can see because he's got the little head fin there. You can also tell from his nose and mouth. But during the American tour arc in the manga and anime, Kinnikuman dons this outfit as a disguise so he's not recognized and he can easily sneak in, and I forget exactly what happens in that plot, but who really cares? He makes for an amazing figure. I'm really a big fan of this guy. He's got so much personality, and the cowboy hat really just tops it all off. Let's end the year on a high note with another Every Single Muscle, and this time it's number 156, Rikishiman, aka Wolfman. Now, we've seen Rikishiman pop up in the line before, but this is his much more standard attire, the much more traditional sumo wrestler look. You can see he's wearing his mawashi shorts. He's got his hair in the traditional sumo wrestler updo kind of thing. So it's pretty great to have a kind of sumo wrestler looking dude in the muscle figure line. Now, if we're talking about the character for a second, of course, Rikishiman is only known as that in the anime. He's traditionally known as Wolfman, but he is one of Kinnikuman's closest allies. He's one of the Justice Chojin. He is arm in arm with his friends throughout the anime and manga series, and he makes for a really great little muscle figure. While you're no doubt filling up your champagne flutes, it's another Every Single Muscle, and this time it's number 157, Black King. And Black King is an amazing muscle figure. As you can see, he's one of the few muscles holding a weapon in hand. He's got this sword in his one hand here. You can see the scabbard by his leg, and he's dressed up in some just awesome medieval-looking gear, including a pretty badass helmet and these shoulder pads, and he's just overall pretty intimidating looking. He's got something tucked away in his belt there. Very unique muscle sculpt in the line. Now, if we're talking about the character here, Black King is the leader of the Space Bandits in the Kinnikuman TV special, and Kinnikuman ultimately defeats him with a Kinniku Buster, as he tends to do. But putting aside who the character is, he makes for just an unbelievably awesome muscle figure, and definitely a unique one. Time to ring in the new year with another Every Single Muscle, and this time it's number 158, Bazoogara. And if you take a good look at him, you can very much see he is a lizard man, and he's certainly got some Ninja Turtle vibes, but the long tail really changes your mind about that a little bit. He's also got these two things on his back, and those are bazookas, hence the name Bazoogara. However, when I was a little kid and I had this guy in my very first 28-pack, they reminded me more of macaroni, and later on, I very much thought they looked like batteries, especially after those Duracell commercials in the 90s. But in truth, Bazoogara is a kaiju monster. That's right, early on in the manga and anime series, Kinnikuman was more of a tokusatsu parody. He wasn't so much into wrestling yet, and so he was taking on kaiju monsters regularly, and Bazoogara was one of the first opponents of Kinnikuman. And as a result, we've got this amazing muscle figure and a very unique one, and I just love him. New year, new you, new post on TikTok. It's another Every Single Muscle. This time it's number 159, Mr. Achilles. As you can see, I've got this guy in this magenta color. I've had him since my very first 28-pack, and I'm a big fan. He's got this, standard kind of Kinnikuman, Muscleman-esque head fin, but what makes him different is he's just covered head to toe in armor. He looks like he's ready to go to war, and that's because his namesake is, of course, Achilles, a character from Greek lore who was a warrior and fought many battles and only had one weakness, and that, of course, was his weak, pathetic little ankles, which, if you scan through the encyclopedia and take a look, it also turns out that Mr. Achilles suffers from the same weakness, a weak ankle area, but otherwise he is jacked up and ready to go and ready to fight. We're going to round out today's New Year's post with muscle figure number 160, Chavo Kuerrori. Now, let's be honest here. There are some muscles that just leave a lot to be desired, and this guy, he's just a skinny little wrestler, man. There's not too much to him, but it's kind of refreshing to have a couple guys in there that just kind of round out the numbers as just kind of standard wrestler dudes, and this is one of them. He's got a little bit of a frown on his face. His hair's got some detail, so he's not completely lacking, but he's not exactly the most interesting figure. Still, I love him because he was in my first 28-pack. Now, that said, let's talk about the character. Chavo Kuerrori is a character that Kinnikuman encountered during the American Tour arc, and he is named after Chavo Guerrero Classic, Chavo Guerrero Sr. of the legendary Guerrero wrestling family. So he's got some lineage to him. Even if he is one of the lamer muscle sculpts, he's still good in my book. You want it, you got it. It's another Every Single Muscle, number 161, Atlantis. And as you can see, Atlantis is a terrifying fish monster, man. He's got these sharp, pointy piranha teeth, bulging eyes. He's got this fin on top of his head that goes all the way down his back, and these little fins off the side of his head. He's got all these little bumps on him, so there's lots of fine detail on him. He really stands out on a shelf next to the other muscles. He's definitely a standout character. And speaking of character, Atlantis is a recurring character in the Kinnikuman manga and anime series. He's one of the 7 Evil Chojin, so he pops up pretty frequently. He has an epic battle with Robin Mask at one point, and he also shows up in the new anime series on Netflix, so I definitely recommend you check that out. One other thing about Atlantis is that on the back of the muscle packaging on the comic strip, this guy shows up in the background. And while I didn't have the figure as a kid, he always jumped out at me as a really cool character. So I'm really glad that I have him now. Well, I have all of them now. Okay, here's a pretty unique one and a really popular one. It's number 162, Nakano-san, the announcer. If you're collecting muscle figures, whether you were a little kid or you're an adult now, you're going to want an announcer figure. You're going to want a commentator at ringside because the set is just full of monsters and wrestlers and aliens and all sorts. But you kind of want something to change it up. You want this little, adorable little human man in his little suit with a microphone and glasses, just looking like he's ready to interview any of the other muscle figures you've got going on. He's very Mean Gene Okerlund-like in that way. Now, if we talk about the character, Nakano-san shows up in the manga, but he's much more prominent in the anime as he becomes one of the standard commentators throughout the entire anime series. He's there commentating every single match, and he's kind of a bit of a comic relief, if you will. I'm a big fan of this guy, and as a kid, I always named him Gentleman. Okay, this is a really awesome one. I know you guys are going to love it. It's number 163, Mammothman, and as his name implies, he is a woolly mammoth man. That's right, he is an elephant dude. He's got a trunk. He's got tusks. He's covered in fur from head to toe. He's got these cool woolly mammoth looking feet, and he's covered in chains too, wrapped in chains. Makes for a really great figure, a really unique sculpt. Definitely stands out on a shelf. If we're talking about the character, Mammoth Man is a recurring character who shows up throughout the manga and anime series. He first shows up as a member of Team Kinnikuman Super Phoenix, and he is a large, intimidating, mammoth-sized presence and a scary villain for our heroes. But damn, what a really great figure. What an awesome muscle. You gotta love him. Looks like you opened this app at just the right time. It's muscle figure number 164, Kinnikuman Big Body, and he's a pretty great figure. As you can see, he is a Kinnikuman, and therefore he does have the standard head fin, but he's also got this mask, this visor over his eyes, these cool-looking shoulder pads, some straps. He's got his arm out in the one direction. He almost, in a way, looks like a Super Saiyan version of a Kinnikuman character. Now, that said, Big Body first shows up in the 5 Fated Princes arc. He is one of the 5 princes who shows up to try and claim the throne from Kinnikuman, but his is the first team to fall prey and fall out of favor. Kinnikuman Super Phoenix defeats Big Body, and Mammoth Man from Super Phoenix's team demolishes all of Big Body's team. But that said, taking a look at him one last time, just an absolutely fantastic figure. I know I say that about a lot of them, but it's true. What can I say? What's this? Why, it's muscle figure number 165, Black Sumo. And unlike Rikishiman, this sumo wrestler character is not of human origin. No, he is an alien monster of some kind, as you can tell by the fact that, well, he's missing a nose for one, but also he has these weird hoses coming off the side of his head there. I don't exactly know what's going on with that, but he makes for a pretty cool figure. Definitely has some weight to him. He's a little bit dense, and I love the thicker muscle figures myself. Now, that said, if we're talking about the character of Black Sumo, he only shows up in the anime in the second movie. He is a member of Black Emperor's Black Army. And yes, most of the guys in the Black Army have black in their name, hence Black Sumo. But regardless of that, he makes for a pretty great figure, as all muscles do. We're back with another one. It's muscle figure number 166, Kinnikuman Mariposa. And as you can see, I've got him in this purple color here. He's got this really interesting vest. He's got these veins all over his arms. And of course, he's got a luchador-style mask and your standard Kinnikuman-style head fin. And that's because he is one of the 5 fated princes. In that particular story arc, 5 would-be princes arrive and challenge Kinnikuman for his rightful seat on the Kinniku planet throne, and Kinnikuman Mariposa is one of them. He brings along with him a team of evil Chojin who the heroes must dispose of before Kinnikuman can take his rightful place on the Kinniku throne. But we can put all that aside and just marvel at the awesome figure that it has resulted in. We're not done yet. It's muscle figure 167, Black Rain. Now, I don't know exactly what the story is with this character. If you take a look at him, he looks like he's part cyborg of some kind. He's got these, I don't know, what are they, antenna on top of his head? He's got this one Cyclops-esque eye, these vents on the side of his face, and he's got this ugly scowl with some teeth that have gaps in between them. So pretty interesting looking figure. There's not much to the character as far as we know because he is only exclusive to the second movie in the anime series, and he is a minion of the Black Emperor and a member of the Black Army. He battles our heroes and, of course, is defeated. And that's his only appearance ever, so there's not too much to the character. But again, with all muscle figures, we care very little about the true lore, and what matters is the awesome little rubbery dude in our hands, and he makes for a great rubbery dude. I was owed a bunch of money, and I finally got paid today, so we're going to celebrate with another Every Single Muscle. This time it's number 168, Mr. VTR. And as you can see, this character is made up of various different electronics, right? He's got a camera for a head, a microphone for a right arm. There's a TV right there in his center. Just above that in his chest, there's 2 big old speakers. And right in the crotch there's a VCR. Though in later iterations of the character, there's probably a DVD player incorporated into that. Now, all that said, he makes for a really great, unique figure in the muscle figure toy line. And as a character, he is a member of Team Mariposa during the 5 Fated Princes arc. He's got some really cool powers because he's a camera and a TV and a VCR. He can edit together different pieces of footage and learn different moves. A really, really unique character, and once again, just an amazing muscle toy. Every Single Muscle glugs along with muscle figure number 169, Banky-Man, aka Urinalman. He's one of my favorite characters, and I'm sure he's one of yours too, because how can you not love an action figure based on something you'd find in a men's restroom? Yeah, that's right. Now, this, of course, isn't the first Urinalman figure we've seen. This is the second one, and what makes him different is that he's got this faucet on top of his head instead of a swirling piece of poop. He actually has some ears. He's not tiled like the original Urinalman figure, and you might be asking yourself, why is this Urinalman different than all other Urinalmen? And the reason is, of course, that this one is based on the anime version of the character. It's a slightly different look, and so it is reflected in the toy itself. Now, just for funsies, I'm going to put them side by side so you can see the comparison. There's 169, and there's the first Urinalman, whose number eludes me at the moment. But either way, I'm glad I got both of them. Holy shnikes, it's muscle figure number 170, the Hunter. And you know what? He kind of does look like that, right? He looks like some sort of elite cyborg bounty hunter from the future, right? He's got these crosshairs on his face there. He's got this cool bandolier that goes around his back there. He looks like you can pay him and he'll take a guy out for you. You don't even have to pay him. You just got to program him with a name. Character-wise, there is very little to say of the Hunter. He doesn't really show up in any capacity. He's in the encyclopedia, and he had an initial character submission, but beyond that, he doesn't make any significant appearances. But hey, regardless, we ended up with this really great muscle figure. We're going to move forward with another Every Single Muscle. This time it's number 171, Mixer Taitei. And if you can't tell what's going on here, he is a standing blender. That's right. The reason his body is shaped like the pitcher part of a mixer is because he is indeed a mixer. That's why there's those little Sharpie bits right in the middle there. Those are the blades, and he puts his enemies inside him and he chops them up into bits, or at least that's the idea for the character. But he's a really cool figure, and having that blender top just kind of gives him this dense upper body, makes for a really great, unique figure. Not too unique. There is another Mixer Taitei figure that we will touch upon a little bit later, and I think that one's even a bit cooler, so I won't touch too much on it. Let's just say that this character, though, shows up during the Five Fated Princes arc. He's a member of Team Mariposa, and he fights Meat, and he fights Kinnikuman, and he doesn't stand a chance in the end. But once again, one last look at this amazing muscle toy. Oh boy, it's another every single muscle, and this time it's number 172, Terryman. But he doesn't look like a man, does he? He looks more like a kid, and that's because this is the child version of Terryman. So of course he has Terryman's signature star-studded tights and the stars on his shoulders there, but he's got your kind of classic little spunky anime kid look. He looks like he just wants to, oh, why I ought to just beat you up or something. That's the voice I imagine he has. Just a really great little figure, and it's cool to have a variety of different characters and different ages in the Muscle collection. There are other versions of characters that are also the child versions, and so this one's I've always been a fan of it. I remember, actually, I never got this guy in a pack. I grew up with this figure, but it was one that I found on the playground, and he made it into my toy box and became a major player in all of my stories. And so there he is, just an amazing little spunky little, what do you call him? We're back with muscle figure number 173, Mr. Khamen. And as you can see, Mr. Khamen here is an Egyptian-themed superhero, Chojin pro wrestler muscle figure. He's got this very, Ramses-style Egyptian headdress thing with this brick attire over his shoulders, very pyramid-esque, if you will. It's a pretty cool figure. It's pretty great, and he's got these big open hands and arms wide open, so he kind of looks like he's ready to grapple with you. If we're talking about the character, Mr. Khamen, he is one of the 7 Devil Chojin, and he has the ability to wrap his foes up in gauze and also to grab a straw and suck out their insides as if he were, mummifying them. So, pretty cool character, and, maybe an even cooler action figure. I'm going to predict people really dig this guy. It's muscle figure number 174, Ashuraman. Now, we've seen several different Ashuraman figures in the line before. He's our 6-armed friend, and he shows up throughout the Muscle series. But this is the only Ashuraman figure with a broken arm. That's right, he's got his arm in a sling here, and it's the only Ashuraman where we've gotten to see that. There aren't too many injured muscle figures, but this is one of them, and it's a pretty great one if you ask me. He's got his arms all bandaged up. He's got the one in the sling. He's looking kind of angry and upset, and I can understand why. When you break an arm, you hurt a limb, or anything like that, it can do a toll on you. But let's just enjoy the figure here. We've talked about the Ashuraman character before, so I'm not going to dig too deep, but he's definitely a recurring character throughout the anime and manga series, and he makes for several great toys, and this might be one of the best ones. Despite the fires burning just to the south of me and the impending doom of TikTok here in the United States, it's time for another Every Single Muscle. This time it's number 175, Leopardon. Now, Leopardon is a pretty great figure, as you can very plainly see. He's based on a military tank, and that's why he's got the whole top part of a tank there on his back and peering up over his little tiny round head. He's also got another, gun-like appendage for his arm here, and he's covered in all of these iron crosses. I assume they're military-esque iron cross symbols. I don't really know the significance of that. Strangely enough, also, he's a barefoot Chojin superhero, despite being based on a tank. I don't know what that's about. Now, if we're talking about the character, Leopardon is a member of Team Big Body in the Five Fated Princes arc. He is very quickly defeated by Mammothman of Team Super Phoenix, but he shows up later on in the anime and manga series. Not too much, but anyway, who gives a damn? It's a damn cool muscle figure.
The people versus muscle. Millions are being captured. America is safe.
Muscle things, what could be worse?
Muscle Part 2. They're orange, they're green, they're purple.
Worse.
Muscle things in disguise. They're hiding everywhere.
I can't stand them! I can't stop them!
Muscle Part 2. Hundreds hide in packs, separately sold. Muscle 2, people nothing.
Hey Internet, if you don't already, why not subscribe to the channel? We're talking every single muscle, every single battle beast. We're doing deep dives on obscure toy lines. We're going on toy hunts, and we're just having an all-around great time. So hit like, hit subscribe, or hit the little bell thingy, and leave a comment below. I want to have a conversation with you guys. I want to talk toys, I bet you do too.
Every single muscle is back, baby, with figure number 176, Heavy Metal. And let's be honest, this is just an amazing figure, incredibly sculpted, so much fine detail work. I'm talking the chains, I'm talking the studs, I'm talking about the pointy shoulder pads. He's got this glorious mop of hair and a cool mask with a little star around the eye there. It's just so finely detailed. Just a really phenomenal sculpt. Kind of got a post-apocalyptic Mad Max vibe, but he's also kind of glam rock. Very, very similar to the band Kiss. Now let's talk about the character for a moment. Heavy Metal is a member of the original Team Soldier during the Five Fated Princes arc. You see, Ataru Kinniku, Kinnikuman's long-lost brother, came and replaced Team Soldier's leader, Soldier Man, and became Kinnikuman Soldier, and in doing so, he wiped out the entire original team. Heavy Metal, of course, was one of those guys, and he's the only one who actually made it into muscle figure form. Now, that isn't to say some of these other guys haven't made it into toy form, but as far as muscle goes, only Heavy Metal made the cut, and what a great figure he is. We're going to keep the momentum going with figure number 177, Great Ukon. Just another dynamite toy in the muscle toy line. A phenomenal sculpt. He's got this kind of evil emperor garb, but underneath it all, he's a lizard man. You can see it in the face there, and you can especially see it with the tail running down the back. He's got this cool headpiece, too, that has these spikes and a jewel in the middle of his forehead and some sort of unicorn-esque horn up the middle. Let's talk about the character for a second. Every single muscle movie, no pun intended there, features a character named Ukon. Ukon is actually a play on the Japanese word poop, which is, I believe, unko. And so he's just a giant poop joke. But all the movies feature an Ukon, and this guy shows up in movie number 2. He is a member of Black Emperor's Black Army, and as they often do, he gets his butt handed to him. But, who really cares about that? Let's just marvel at another phenomenal sculpt in the muscle toy line. Another day, another every single muscle. This time it's number 178, Black Satan. Now, it's hard to tell exactly what's going on with this character. He's very strange and alien-like. He's got these 3 eyes. He's got a weird, collar, crown, head shape. All these odd shapes all over his body, these spinal protrusions, really weird alien-esque physiology, but he makes for a pretty cool toy. Now, if we're talking about the character, Black Satan is one of the members of Black Emperor's Black Army in the second Kinnikuman movie, and he's not actually just one individual character. There's an entire army of Black Satan-looking dudes. Those are part of Black Emperor's forces. All that said, when we take a look at the toy, it's a pretty cool one. Every single muscle's back with figure number 179, Black Buffalo. And no, he doesn't look like a buffalo at all. He definitely is more of an elk or a stag look to him, some sort of deer family, or at least that's what I thought so when you take a look at these horns here. Now also, he's got a pretty scary, angry, evil-looking face, but in spite of that, I've grown up with this orange figure since I was a little kid, and I always played him as one of the good guys. I kind of thought, let's play against type. Maybe this guy has a good heart underneath his very scary demeanor. I don't know why I made that decision, but I have no regrets. Now, if we're talking about the character, Black Buffalo is another one of Black Emperor's Black Army members in Kinnikuman movie number 2. He shows up, he fights, he gets his butt kicked, but he leaves an impression because he made for an amazing muscle figure. Every single muscle's back at it again with figure number 180, Black Knight, and he definitely lives up to the knight part of his name because he's got this very medieval-looking helmet. It's got that cool, we'll call it a mohawk bit up the top here, but it also has these things on the side that almost look like fins, and his outfit kind of looks like a scuba jumpsuit in some way, so he definitely almost gives off a bit of an aquatic vibe to him, but that actually carries no weight whatsoever because if we talk about the character, Black Knight here appears in Kinnikuman movie number 2 as a member of the Black Army and a minion of Black Emperor, and like many other characters that show up in those movies, he gets his butt handed to him, and then we never see him again. Now, all that said, this is not the first Black Knight we've ever seen. That's why it says Black Knight 2 on your screen. There was another Black Knight who appeared exclusively to the TV special, but as you can see when I put them side by side, these are very different characters, despite sharing the same name. The glorious return of every single muscle is marked by figure number 181, Black Bear. Now, Black Bear here is an angry little fella. You can tell by the scowl on his face, and while that is his most distinguishing feature, he's got a few others. I think namely the abs you can count for days, also these little shouldery bits, but more interesting, I think, is the helmet that fits perfectly around his head, has this little spike on top, and on the back it's almost insectoid in nature. Really, really interesting there. Now, none of that really points to a bear exactly, so I don't know where his name comes from, but I will say that he shows up in the second Kinnikuman anime movie. He works underneath Black Emperor as a member of the Black Army, and unsurprisingly, he gets his butt handed to him, like many of them do when they're one-off characters that only show up in the anime movies especially. Now, all that said, when you take a good look at him, he just makes for a great little toy. He looks like the perfect little angry little soldier, and man, I just love muscle figures, guys. Have I mentioned that before? Ain't no stopping me now. It's muscle figure number 182, Mysterious Partner. And when you take a look at him, you might think, he's pretty dolled up for a cold winter day, right? He's got sweatpants tucked into his boots. He's got a big poofy sweatshirt. He's got some goggles and a hood and a mask on. It must be freezing out there. No, in actuality, this guy is not prepared for a cold winter day. He is merely in disguise. That's right. During the Five Fated Princes arc, when Team Big Body showed up, all of the members of Kinnikuman Big Body's team were in this disguise before finally revealing their actual identities, including Leopardon and Cannonballer and a couple other guys, and I'm sure we'll talk about all of them as we go. Whatever the case, it doesn't matter that this isn't a particular character, it's more of an outfit. What matters is that it made a toy. It made another wonderful toy in our muscle figure toy line, and how can we ever complain about that? Better late than never, it's muscle figure number 183, Pinchman, and as you can see, Pinchman is a pair of pliers. That's right, his head's a pair of pliers, his hands formed together to form another pair of pliers, and he's got a goatee, he's got a wrestling singlet, he's a pro wrestling pair of pliers straight out of the toolbox. Now, if we talk about the character here, Pinchman is a member of Team Kinnikuman Big Body. He shows up during that Five Fated Princes arc and is one of many to fall very quickly in battle because, Team Big Body doesn't stand much of a chance. But Pinchman, regardless of his status and level of expertise in wrestling, still makes for a pretty awesome little muscle figure. It's time for another one. It's muscle figure number 184, Geronimo. Now, we've seen another Geronimo figure earlier in the line, but this is probably my favorite Geronimo figure in the set, and that's for a few different reasons. One, I've had this guy since way back when. I've had this one in this red color since I was a little kid, but I really love how just long and flowing his hair is. I like how he's got this headband. He's got the little poofy bits around his wrists and ankles, but the most interesting thing to me is that terrified look on his face. He looks like he's just witnessed a murder, like he's seen God, like he doesn't know what to do with it. Just adds so much character and really makes for a really interesting figure. Now, of course, if we're talking about Geronimo, the character, he is one of the members of the Idol Chojin. He's one of Kinnikuman's boys. He's Terryman's apprentice, and unfortunately what that means is in the later story arcs, he's kind of in the first line of attack. He's normally one to go down before any of the other heroes, but hey, he puts in a valiant effort every time. We're back with another Every Single Muscle, and this time it's number 185, King the 100-ton, the heavyweight of Team Mariposa. And like his name implies, and like the little T on his chest implies, this guy weighs 100 tons. That's right, he's a big boy, and he's a pretty big muscle figure too. A little bit dense, a little bit wider than some of the others. Actually, significantly larger than the other King the 100-ton figure in the line. Though if you ask me, that one's got the edge because it's pretty cool. It's got all these little spiky bits all over him. We'll get to that figure eventually, but first, let's talk about the character here. King the 100-ton, as I mentioned, is a member of Team Kinnikuman Mariposa during the Five Fated Princes arc. He has a couple epic battles, one of them against Terryman, but before that, he has a battle with Meat, Little Meato, and he actually ends up defeating Meat. But he moves on to Terryman and falls prey to Terryman, and ultimately, Team Kinnikuman ends up on top. Whatever the case, here's a great look at another great muscle figure. We're back with another one. It's number 186, Candelaman. Now, we've talked about Candelaman before. He is a ball and chain Chojin based on the game Kendama, which is kind of like cup and ball here in the United States. But of course, as you can see, this guy doesn't have a ball, nor does he have a chain, and that's because this figure is based on the character a little bit later into the battle when he's kind of lost some of his his amenities, if you will, and he's a little bit more bare bones. So yeah, that's why he's just kind of got no hand here, and well, no head at all either. But while that might seem discerning to some, it kind of makes for a unique, interesting looking figure, and I dig him. Now again, talking about the character, Candelaman is the tag team partner of Screw Kid during the tag arc, and he fights and he's a brutal Chojin, but ultimately he's no match for our heroes. Once again, one last look at another great muscle toy. Every single muscle soars back into your feed with figure number 187, the Hawkman. Now, of course, we've talked about the Hawkman once before, so what I'm going to do is put them side by side so we can compare the two. As you can see with the first Hawkman, he's got that hawk on his head, the Hellbird, if you will. But the Hawkman we're talking about today is more hawkish all on his own, right? He's got the big hawk wings. He's got these talons for feet instead of the boots like the first one there. So even though he's bald, he's packing a whole lot of heat all on his own. Now, if we're talking about the character of Hawkman, as a little bit of a reminder, he's a member of Team Kinnikuman Mariposa, and he takes a defeat at the hands of Kinnikuman with a devastating Kinniku driver. What are you going to do, huh, Hawkman? Now, all that said, this is a pretty great figure. Is he as cool as the first Hawkman? I'm not sure he is, but he definitely has a charm all on his own. And just like that, we're at figure number 188, Phoenix Man. And I've always liked this Phoenix Man figure because it kind of makes me think of, like, what if Kinnikuman was a homeless dude or something, right? He's got this shirt, it's all tattered, his shorts are tattered, he's barefoot, he looks like he's been through something, and that's because he has. And we're going to talk about the character for a moment. Phoenix Man is actually another character from planet Kinniku, born in the same hospital as Kinnikuman himself, but he suffered throughout his life. He was not a prince. Instead, he suffered from a heart disease that was going to take his life. But thankfully, the god of intelligence inhabited his body, and he took on the form of Kinnikuman Super Phoenix, thus becoming the main antagonist of the Five Fated Princes arc and a challenger for Kinnikuman's throne. But all that said, going back to the figure itself, I kind of really dig the fact that he just looks like this schlubby version of the Kinnikuman character. Y'all ready for this? It's another Every Single Muscle, and this time it's number 189, Kinnikuman's sidekick and cornerman, Meat. Now, we've talked about Meat once before because there are, in fact, 2 Meat figures in the Muscle toy line, and for that reason, we're going to sit them side by side and do a little bit of a comparison shot. As you can see, the Meat on the left, the one we're talking about today, is a much more loud, boisterous-looking figure compared to the shy, timid-looking Meat we covered once before. But this Meat right here, what really sets him apart, he's got his 2 fists up in the air, he's got his cape, and he's got a big open mouth, so big, in fact, that he doesn't even have a nose on this figure. And I think it really helps distinguish the 2 figures from each other, really kind of makes them 2 distinctly separate sculpts in many different ways. Meat, of course, shows up throughout the anime and manga series, always at Kinnikuman's side, yelling, "Go Kinnikuman-san!" But of course, I prefer Mike Pollock, a friend of mine from my time on Sonic Boom, doing his voice in Ultimate Muscle. He did more of a Mickey from Rocky vibe, which always vibed and seems really funny to me. The muscle figs just keep on coming with figure number 190, Satan. And as you can see, I've got him in this vibrant, distinct blue color, which really just pops. He's got this jagged knife sword thing, or maybe it's a flaming sword, I don't really know. And his head, of course, is an eye, which lives up to his name, Satan. It's an eye with a distinct eyelid kind of helmet over it. He's a really interesting figure, a really unique one in the line. And as I've said before, there aren't too many figures that have a weapon in their hand, but he's one of them. Now, if we're talking about the character, of course, Satan is exclusive to the anime series. He shows up in movie number 3 as a member of the Ancient Chojin, led by Satan King, and he does battle with Warsman, and not surprisingly, he doesn't fare too well against one of our heroes. But all that said, take one last look at this amazing muscle figure. He really stands out, and I'm so happy to be able to put him on my toy shelf. You're in luck, because it's time for another Every Single Muscle, and this time it's number 191, Satan King. Now, Satan King is a pretty interesting muscle figure. He's got some very unusual aspects to him. For starters, there's these horns on top, but more interestingly, there's these horn-like mandible things on the side of his head, too. He also has a very alien face, and his pants, especially the thigh part of it, give a very Dragon Ball Z Super Saiyan-esque vibe to them. Now let's talk about the character for a moment. Satan King only shows up in the anime series as a character in movie number 3. He's the leader of the Ancient Chojin, and of course he gets defeated pretty handily by Kinnikuman with a devastating Kinniku driver. All that said, it's a pretty great muscle figure and another very unusual one. It's good to have a nice variety of weirdos, and he sure fits in with them. Every Single Muscle's back with figure number 192, Evil Chojin God. And yes, this character is the figurification of one of 5 characters that are normally portrayed as just kind of heads floating around in the sky in the Kinnikuman manga and anime series. But in this case, he's got a body. He's also got a little tiny cape back there. And so, yeah, he's a bald guy with a cape. Just shut up, lean back, and enjoy the little rubber goodness. Come on now, this is a good one. It's muscle figure number 193, Cobra Satan. And unlike most muscle figures, this guy doesn't have legs. He's just got this snake-like tail that curves around like that. He's also got 3 fingers on each hand. He's got these bumps along his spine, these weird eyebrow antenna things, and he's got abs that go all the way up his body. Definitely a one-of-a-kind muscle toy. Certainly stands out from several of the others. Now, let's just talk about the character for a moment. Similar backstory to some of the other guys we've covered recently. This guy is a character that is exclusive to the anime. He only shows up in movie number 3 as a member of the ancient Chojin led by Satan King. You may notice there's a trend of guys with Satan in their name, and most of them come from that movie. He goes to battle with Ramen Man, and he loses. But there's also like a whole army of other guys that look kind of just like him, but he's the leader of them, and he makes for just a spectacular muscle toy. Did somebody order another Every Single Muscle? Because we got one. It's number 194, Haniwa Satan. And I really like this guy. I like his chubby, stubby little arms and legs, his weirdly shaped head, and the spiky bit on top that almost makes his head look like a turnip or a pineapple or something like that. Now, you might be asking yourself, what does Haniwa mean? Well, Haniwa are actually terracotta clay figures from Japan in the 3rd through 7th centuries that were used primarily in kind of funerary and burial practices. So, hey, there's a little history lesson for you. Now, as far as the character goes, this guy shows up only in movie number 3, as is the case with most characters that have Satan in their name. He's a member of the ancient Chojin, led by Satan King, and he does battle with Rikishiman and loses pretty handily. And there are several other terracotta-looking figures alongside him that show up there. But of course, this is the one we got in figure form, and he's absolutely delightful. I know some of you have been waiting patiently for us to get to this one, and we finally made it. It's number 195, Sunshine. Now, of course, we've seen several other Sunshine figures before. He's always made up of bricks and blocks, and so we've seen him in humanoid form, and we've also seen one shaped like a triangle almost. But this one's shaped like a spinner top, and it kind of makes him a very special toy. There are very few muscle figures that have an actual function outside of just standing there and looking awesome, but this guy, he could do something real cool. That's right, this guy actually spins. Yeah, that's pretty dope. And check it out behind there, preview of the next few figures. We're back with another Every Single Muscle, and this time it's number 196, Thief George. Now, George here is just your regular, standard, kind of normal-looking guy, just a man in a t-shirt and pants, and with your standard Kinnikuman-style head fin. But outside of that, just a regular-looking guy. And the reason for that is because he was just a regular guy. At least he was before the god of flight took over his body, turning him into Kinnikuman Mariposa, one of the challengers for Kinnikuman's throne during the 5 Fated Princes arc. And so he was turned into a high-flying luchador, and now he's just kind of this plain old dude. He makes for a great figure, but my question is, why are the other characters that were turned into those Kinnikuman 5 Fated Princes, why were they named Strong Man and Phoenix Man and Soldier Man and Powerful Man, but this guy just got stuck with the name George? We're back with muscle figure number 197. This is Robin Mask, and it's perhaps the coolest of the Robin Mask figures. Certainly the one with the coolest pose, and he's also got this glorious cape draped down his back there. He's looking like a true superhero, and he's got this awesome flex going on. Really a big fan of this guy. As you can see, I've got him in this cool salmon color. What else is there to say? We've talked about Robin Mask before because he's one of the main characters of the series, and there are a couple more Robin Masks down the line, so at some point we'll be talking about every single Robin Mask in the muscle line, but for now, just enjoy this thoroughly spectacular muscle figure. We're soldiering on with muscle figure number 198, Soldier Man, and he's obviously a pretty badass muscle figure. He's got his shirt with the sleeves cut off. He's got that classic Kinnikuman-style head fin. He's wearing camo pants, but I think the coolest part is just all the scars all over his face. He's looking angry. He's looking ready for a fight, and I think it makes for a pretty great muscle toy. Now, if we're talking about the character for a second, Soldier Man is a guy whose body was taken over by the god of brutality, and he became Kinnikuman Soldier. But Kinnikuman Soldier was very short-lived because Ataru Kinniku, Kinnikuman's own long-lost older brother, came and murdered Soldier Man, taking on the mantle of Kinnikuman Soldier himself. So while he was a short-lived character, he did make it into muscle form in this form right here in front of you, and I think it's one of the coolest muscle figures in the line. Holy moly, every single muscle's up to figure number 199, Ashuraman. And as we've talked about before, there are several different Ashuraman figures in the line. This one, of course, is a child version of Ashuraman, so he's not as intimidating, he's not as scary, but he's still got 6 arms and 3 faces, and I think that makes for a great toy, even if he is a lot smoother than the much more jagged, crusty, angry, craggly Ashuraman we all know. Every single muscle reaches a major milestone with figure number 200, Terryman. And I will say that for me, this is a really special figure because when I played with my muscle toys as a kid, he was always the number 2 hero right behind Muscle Man. And of course, I didn't know his name was Terryman. We didn't know their names growing up, right? So I had to dub him something, and I called him Karate Man because of his awesome and obvious karate-style headband. But here he is one more time, putting him back with the crew. It's Muscle Man, it's Karate Man, it's Bear Man, and it's the Mayor, for reasons I can't explain. There they are, the main 4 heroes in my toy box growing up.
Just an unbelievable display of vintage rubber goodness. Nothing beats Muscle, am I right? If you manage to stick around to the end here, you'll probably be interested in part 5, which of course I'll link right here if it's posted already. But if not, that's okay. There's all kinds of other good stuff to watch. Toy hunts, deep dives, every single battle beast, but I know what you really want. Every single muscle.